Homage to Buddha Shakyamuni, homage to Wisdom Warrior Manjushri, homage to all lineage masters, the Dharma, profound and subtle, seldom met in countless ages, now heard and practiced. May we realize the Tathagata's truth for all beings' liberation, generate supreme bodhicitta. Next, let me introduce the second half of this prayer, because earlier we learned which deities make up the 9 principal deities. This was already explained to everyone in the previous class. Dharmakaya Amitabha, Sambhogakaya, Vajradharma, Padmasambhava, and Avalokiteshvara. Hayagriva, the wisdom Dakini, and the powerful Vajravarahi, along with Mahesvara and the enlightened mother of activity. These are the main ones. Next, we should say that there are indeed countless holy beings, with the 9 principal deities as the main ones. How do we connect with and sincerely pray to these holy beings? The following provides an explanation of how to align ourselves with their body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities in detail. Of course, there may be various ways to interpret this. Let's pause here for a moment. For example, when it comes to the countless activity deities, vast as the ocean, for example, the countless magnetizing deities, vast as the ocean. If we want to align our body, speech, and mind with them, first, there's corresponding with the body merits, so to speak. The supreme and common mudras, the dance of bliss and emptiness, gathering of Vajra heroes and Dakinis, manifestation in vast emptiness, Vajra bodies, Danshakes realms. This section mainly discusses aligning with the body qualities among their body, speech, and mind. That is to say, through the supreme and common mudras, one ultimately attains the undifferentiated dance of true freedom in the union of bliss and emptiness. Speaking of the 9 principal deities mentioned above, they each have mastery over both the common and the uncommon mudras. Mudras represent the most supreme qualities of all deities, and they have all attained complete mastery over them. Moreover, all the deities manifested above are manifestations of the dance reaching non-duality of bliss and emptiness. They have all accomplished the activity of pacification, that is, the Vajra heroes. As mentioned above, for example, Hayagriva, Avalokiteshvara, and so on. These are the Vajra heroes, including Amitabha Buddha and countless other heroes. There are also the Dakinis. The Dakinis refer to Vajrayogini. And as mentioned above, for example, the secret wisdom Dakini and so on, there are countless, limitless gatherings of Dakinishar. Gathering means a multitude. Within the vast, equal nature of manifest emptiness, they display the dance of countless, limitless Vajra bodies. We know that every sentient being has a different disposition. In front of different beings, some appear as Vajra heroes to guide and liberate them. Others appear as Dakinis guiding them. Why is this the case? In the nature of all phenomena, appearance and emptiness are non-dual and equal in nature. They are emptiness, inseparable from luminosity, intrinsic nature. If the nature of all phenomena were not like this, they could not manifest all these various displays. To different sentient beings, they display various Vajra forms in appearance and emptiness. Deities of the Karma family manifest in many different ways. Here, playful display doesn't necessarily mean dancing or singing song, understood as all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva has 32 forms, and Hayagriva has a one-faced, two-armed, and a four-armed form. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva appears as the thousand-armed, thousand-eyed form. Playful manifestations appear to being. It's like a dancer who is especially skilled in dance movements, who in front of different people and different enthusiasts, his body or appearance can take on countless forms and postures. He can show or display all kinds of images, the same principle. These bodhisattvas and Buddhas also sometimes appear in many different forms, such as in our world. So through their playful manifestations in different bodies, they can shake the 3 realms. In front of beings in the formless realm, They appear formlessly to guide them. In front of beings in the form realm, they take on the forms of those beings to guide them. To desire realm beings, they look the same. In the desire realm are humans, animals, hungry ghosts. So generally speaking, to be honest, what are these manifestations of the bodhisattvas like? It's just what we mentioned above. The objects of our prayers are the nine principal deities. But in fact, it's like opening a sesame pot. There's simply no way to estimate them all. There may be countless forms. For example, there are red mountains, red prayer beads, red pillars. Some appear as white, some as green. Magnetizing activity is red, and the principal deity's body is red. But that doesn't mean their entire body is always red. It's not like they go somewhere and put on red clothes to show themselves. It's not like that. If, like ordinary people, one has an attachment to appearances, then that's just a general way of perceiving it. Therefore, if we understand that their body is in union with Vajra nature, then throughout the vast and boundless world, the nine principal deities manifest to transform sentient beings in many ways, as all are equal and dependently arisen, with dependent origination. They display forms through the Vajra body, shaking or stirring the three realms and gathering sentient beings in three realms. Allowing them to experience human and godly happiness to attain perfect enlightenment. This is what we have discussed regarding the qualities of his body. Next, the second aspect we will discuss is the qualities of his speech. Unobstructed speech summons three realms. Light pervades samsara and nirvana, gathering samsara and nirvana by desire. So this teaching mainly discusses here the vast and boundless magnetizing deities we mentioned earlier, whose bodies dance and move throughout the world in all sorts of diverse and varied forms. Their speech possesses the freedom and unobstructed nature of Vajra speech. The joyful laughter of their unobstructed speech can summon all sentient beings within the entire three realms. And their speech, we specifically talk about 21 taras and one tara. There is a tara, a compassionate and enlightened being whose joyful and melodious laughter has the power to summon and subdue all demons and every kind of worldly being. This is the meaning. Just as Tara's joyful laughter shakes and gathers all sentient beings of the three realms, here, the laughter of these magnetizing deities, laughter covers broad range. In a narrower sense, the magnetizing deities have sounds like ha-ha, he-he, hoo-hoo, kang-kang, and so on. More broadly speaking now, all the sounds we hear now are actually the sounds of the magnetizing deity, including sounds of earth, water, fire, wind, as well as external sounds we hear. Even the loud honking sounds of car horns on the road. Every kind of sound is truly a manifestation of the magnetizing deity's sovereign Vajra speech. You could say that. And all of these are like the mantra wheel radiating light. In exoteric and esoteric teachings, he emits boundless light from his throat, or red light shines from the mantra wheel. Moreover, this light pervades all of samsara and nirvana. It reaches pure and impure realms everywhere. And in all these places in the world, it touches the hearts of sentient beings, moving them, inspiring awe and stirring their emotions. For example, when this divine light clearly shines upon all the different worlds, it brings true joy and happiness to the hearts of these sentient beings. And it has the ability to gather, collect, and bring together all the worlds, both those that are the essence of all four elements, wisdom, compassion. And for example, in people's minds, there are also some mental impurities, as well as exceptionally pure, thoroughly refined wisdom and profound understanding. So what is the specific method for practicing the magnetizing activities? It could be shining from one's body, speech, mind, and throughout the entire world. Everything I could not attain, O Master, I now obtain. If I did not have wisdom before, then through my red light illuminating the world, wherever there is wisdom, I acquire it. This is not as described in Taoism, where one absorbs all of another person's energy, or their most essential vital essence. People say others practicing Qigong on have drawn out all the blood and vital essence from my body. That's why I'm really so very thin now, actually practicing aspiration activities. It doesn't cause harm to sentient beings. It's more like a lamp when someone else has a lit lamp here. And if my unlit lamp comes into contact with it, then my lamp is lit. The original lamp remains in its original place, completely unchanged. So when I practice the activity of magnetizing activities, other people's wisdom, compassion, wealth, and longevity, I can obtain essence from all worlds, animate and inanimate. That's why we say the prayer for magnetizing activity carries great blessings. When blessings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas enter our minds, whether it's our mind or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, this practice can be done using common or highest yoga tantra methods, or even in the way of the exoteric tradition. This is a form of supplication. Mipham Rinpoche doesn't state here. It needs generation and completion stages. He just doesn't say that. Some of us may not have received empowerment, but I also have not discussed the profound practices of the generation and completion stages. In other words, I am just an ordinary person, and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, through their speech or body, emit red light, causing the world of sentient beings and environment to tremble. But this kind of trembling is not like what we imagine in our mind, as if a magnitude 6 or 7 earthquake has occurred, making everyone panic and feel uneasy. It's not like that. Some of the terms that are used here refer to all the essence of the world, which can be easily obtained by oneself without harming any conditions of others. After obtaining it, you remain the same as before. The states in which you previously lacked freedom, you are now, at last, liberated. So honestly, if you have not gained any realization at all, so far, or if in Buddhism we lack these abilities, some people think they're just making things up, but I don't think that's the case. For example, our revered guru guiding disciples probably doesn't need to be spoken of by many people. It should be evident from some of his deeds. To be honest, in any given era, what exactly is a person's capability? If this is not a form of magnetizing hook, a kind of magnetizing attraction. I think with so many people present here today, in such a cold mountain valley of Tibetan, if you were just sitting here for no reason at all, it might not make any sense. Why are you staying here? I ask myself the same question. Why? After leaving this peaceful mountain valley for a while, I start to miss the mountains and rivers, then I come back. What is this? It must be the blessings of the masters, or perhaps the gentle, radiant red light they emit, softly surrounding us and filling the space with a comforting sense of warmth and protection, that through various causes and conditions allow us to receive this connection. For example, if my true heart has already been drawn in, without me realizing it, then my body has no choice but to obediently and without any resistance follow along. This heart for many people is like feelings or emotions. Some people in certain roles or status can attract people. Some people are drawn by money. If you show them money, they'll follow you without hesitation. There are cases like that too. This includes foods and birds and animals. They'll also follow along. But all of these are just skillful means. In the same way, we have an invisible power to attract sentient beings and an invisible ability to help them. Is Buddhist practice for reputation or to truly strengthen their own power? No, it's not like that. If you don't first have the ability to attract others, you won't be able to help them even if you want to. We few who haven't mastered magnetizing practice, but when they go to Han, they're confident, eloquent. They're also fairly good looking, and in all aspects they really want to attract disciples. They have wisdom and compassion, but when they go around looking for disciples, people keep their distance. Sometimes they can't find any disciples. This happens. But for those whose magnetizing activities have already been fully accomplished wherever they go, if you help sentient beings, it becomes effortless. So sometimes, on one hand, we make aspirations ourselves, but we also need to possess some wisdom, discipline, and character of our own. Requirements for you to guide sentient beings. You might need some intangible conditions. Otherwise, even if you keep saying you want to benefit sentient beings, I'm afraid some of the necessary conditions may not be fully mature. So here we're talking about the merit of his speech. Laughter in his voice, which can attract or draw in all sentient beings of the three realms, allowing them, whether in samsara or nirvana, whether pure or impure, to be gently drawn in and to fully receive all of the essence, the most important, the supreme aspects. Truly, in this way, one accomplishes the activity of enlightened speech. Currently at our institute, every year for about half a month, throughout the Larong Valley of Magnetizing Mountain, people recite day and night without interruption the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum She De Maga. To be honest, with the power of such a mantra, I joke with them. We can't hold the Vajra recitation for long. Otherwise, there wouldn't be enough space for people in the Larong Valley. Dharma assembly needs shorte duration. Otherwise, if more and more people from all over the world keep coming, it will be very difficult for us to provide everyone with all the necessary convenience. Because if people's hearts are drawn in first, then there won't be any difficulties in other aspects. This is a good point for you. Sentient beings, their minds are not capable, their minds cannot connect with the Dharma. But if their minds are in tune with the Dharma, whether in bodies or study, practice, whatever obstacles they face, they will face them. If the mind is not capable, even if you live in a palace made of the 7 precious substances, you won't be happy. You'll avoid it. So in this regard, everyone should understand this Vajra speech. This is about connecting with Vajra speech. Earlier, it was about the bodies of the 9 principal deities. I also hope that in the future, anyone who has practiced these teachings and has confidence in them, if it's small, carry it or place it in their books or on their altar. In this way, you should be able to connect with the bodies of the 9 principal deities. We have only one way to express this. It's not that you can completely be like the true great masters, visualizing your own body as Hayagriva and then pronouncing the sound. We don't have these abilities right now. If our speech matches his, we should often sometimes recite the mantra of the 9 principal deities and practice this method. Also, recite the prayer of magnetizing activity in this way. In fact, these sounds, especially those blessed by great masters like Mipham Rinpoche, blessed Vajra words. Recite once, merit immense. So during the summer, when the days were warm and the sun was shining brightly, I found myself spending, according to the Avatamsaka Sutra and many other Buddhist scriptures, Manjushri Bodhisattva leads 100,000 followers who often reside there. Inside Luang Cave at Mount Wutai, I vowed to recite this 10,000 times. Actually, 10,000 times isn't that many, about 20 recitations a day. You can finish over a year. But this is also self-discipline, refining our impure speech, align with speech of the 9 principal deities to resonate with their Vajra speech. While reciting, even if we can't visualize, we can still imagine emitting boundless light. This light can embrace all sentient beings, helping them and benefiting them through the Dharma. You can visualize this in your own way. Don't make visualization complicated. Some have vivid imagination. They make red lotus with a red she syllable on the lotus and 5 kinds of light above it, and so on and so forth. Imagining all sorts of things, this really isn't necessary. Because it's not described that way here, since it's not mentioned, it's important to simply pray or connect with the red light. Red light is linked to magnetizing. So over the past few years, especially since last year, I've really wanted to practice magnetizing activities for a period of time. But the purpose of practicing magnetizing isn't because I want to attract a lot of people or gather many followers recently. That's not the reason. Actually, I think I've mentioned this once before. Our master, the wish-fulfilling jewel, was a master of magnetizing activities. You could say that as his disciples, we should actually feel rather ashamed. In this very life, we can't claim to have achieved great accomplishments in magnetizing activities. But since our own master was like this, we have an especially extraordinary karmic connection. With such a connection, we still wish to continue extending it. It needs our effort. Otherwise, if our master mastered magnetizing activities, but we never recite or practice, second generation rich or second generation officials now, by the second generation, it's already gone. If we never practice and spend each day eating, drinking, having fun, then it's unlikely this connection will continue. Like in real life, if dad's a carpenter, son should know carpentry. Skill levels and many aspects differ. Lineage still needs to continue. India has a worldly tradition. There must be some truly particularly special and especially auspicious reasons for our connection with the masters. Next, the third part is about aligning with the Vajra mind of the nine principal deities. We aligned body and speech with the Vajra. Now, we align the mind, relying on the intention of great Vajra desire. One is granted the two supreme siddhis that are wished. With the great Vajra iron hook and the great lasso, all existing phenomena are gently, carefully, and thoroughly drawn together and gathered into great bliss. This refers to the wisdom of mind among the body, speech, and mind of the nine principal deities, and aligning with this aspect of mind. So how do we align with the mind? It is in fact by relying on the intention of great Vajra desire. In fact, great Vajra desire means that our ordinary attachment is transformed into wisdom. This is called Vajra attachment. For example, in the Manjushri Namasangiti, it also mentions great Vajra desire, doesn't it? In other words, when I recognize what arises in my own continuum, such as the attachment that worldly people acknowledge as love, including the attachment to feelings between men and women, especially when you don't recognize these things, they often bind you, they often harm you. But when you recognize their true nature, not only do they no longer harm you, but they are completely transformed into discriminating wisdom. This is not only taught in Vajrayana Buddhism, but in Sutrayana teachings such as the Kashyapa Parivarta. It is also explained so-called emotional attachment, in fact, can be transformed into wisdom. It's just like poison in the world if you recite mantras over it or use other special medicines such as antidotes. To neutralize it, then the original poison becomes a remedy. Same principle. The afflictive emotions that people in the world call greed, anger, and ignorance, these particularly troublesome mental states, if you recognize their true nature, there is no need to transform or redirect them. Its very nature is directly transformed into great wisdom. This is called the intention of Vajra-like attachment. By relying on such Vajra, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas point out directly that afflictions are none other than enlightenment itself. This kind of understanding effectively enables us to attain all the most supreme common and uncommon accomplishments that we desire. Because if your attachment is truly transformed into wisdom, then, in the end, nothing else remains at all. Whether it's the person you wish to have or the things you desire, there's simply no longer an object of attachment. Ordinary people in the world always feel that they can never find the object of their love. Losing someone they deeply care for, someone they truly like, brings them great emotional pain. This is because you've not recognized the true nature of mind or attachment. When you truly recognize it, you could say there is neither gain nor loss, neither coming nor going. So at this point, it can essentially grant you all the common and also the uncommon accomplishments as well. Moreover, such accomplishments can be attained through the symbols of the nine principal deities, using the Vajra iron hook and the Vajra lasso of the nine principal deities to draw in all things and phenomena in the world, everything that currently exists, and carefully gather them all together into a state of great wisdom, profound luminosity, and deep abiding bliss, allowing these qualities to fully manifest. We may notice that whether it is the many retinues of the nine principal deities, most of the principal deities depicted in these statues notably hold an iron hook and a lasso, firmly grasped in their respective hands. This is clearly manifested in front of impure sentient beings. What is this iron hook? As everyone knows, it can easily hook someone over. That's exactly what the iron hook is designed to do, after all. And what about the lasso? The lasso can be looped around your neck so it can actually catch you and then gently pull you. There are, in fact, such functions as well. So whether it's Vajravarahi or Hayagriva, many different deities associated with the activity of magnetizing have similar emblems in their hands. Of course, in fact, there are also various different types of lassos that are commonly used for different purposes, such as the lotus lasso, the lightning lasso, and many others as well. For the iron hook, in different sadhana rituals, there are copper hooks, golden hooks, and other different forms. Each deity has a unique way of displaying these emblems. Of course, these bodhisattvas are not real at all. He puts a metal rope on each one and then pulls them over, or hooks something here like a fisherman. Is that really the case? Actually, it really isn't. We should say that this is a symbolic emblem of theirs. But in reality, this symbolic emblem truly, in an absolutely invisible way, has already hooked you in. You could put it that way, so to speak. For example, there are some people who, for various reasons, don't study Buddhism, but by chance, you happen to meet a spiritual teacher. After meeting this teacher, through the compassionate iron hook of the teacher, you have already been drawn in. After being drawn in, you later take refuge in Buddhism. Not only do you take refuge, but you make significant contributions spreading the Dharma and benefiting sentient beings. At the beginning, whether it was the emblem of the Buddhism bodhisattvas or its particular origin, there is a certain connection. Is it really that Manjushri Bodhisattva uses a sword daily, chopping away, like we chop firewood? Is that actually really the case? No, it isn't. But it does actually have its own secret meanings. We aren't really that foolish. We should be clear about this. What is Manjushri Bodhisattva's sword meant to cut? It is meant to sever our ignorant attachment to self. What does the lotus of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva represent? It symbolizes being unstained by the mud in samsara. So every emblem has its own particularly auspicious origin. This auspicious origin relates to it is directly related to his saving sentient beings and to the benefit of all sentient beings. Therefore, generally speaking, deities of the activity of magnetizing all have such emblems. So what does this really mean? It means relying on a truly great desire, our great desire and the sublime discriminating wisdom, or the wisdom of great desire of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, are actually not different at all. Ordinary beings are like drifters outside, without any restraints, extremely careless and wandering. For example, when someone catches a stray cat outside, at first they might use an iron hook or a snare to catch it. But later the cat becomes very gentle and behaves well at home. In the same way, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas also use a gentle expression of compassion and wisdom to bless and uplift us, drawing us into the great bliss of wisdom, so that from then on we come to recognize the true nature of our mind. Originally I was a wanderer, but later I truly became someone capable within my own mind. I might recognize the original face of my own mind, becoming such a person. So these are things that everyone should really understand. The causes and conditions, or dependent origination, that are represented behind each individual sutra and every treatise. This section is about our impure minds, which are primarily driven by greed, and how they relate to non-attachment or the great desirelessness of Buddhas, or how they can be brought into complete alignment with the unobstructed wisdom of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In practice, there are different methods of cultivation. In general, exoteric sutra practices. I might visualize the wisdom of the nine principal deities as inseparable from me. If we go a step further, At the very moment when you truly recognize and become aware of the nature of your own mind, Hayagriva is in fact your present mind. Red Avalokiteshvara is the very mind you are visualizing right now. Apart from this, in fact, in the space before you, there doesn't necessarily have to be a red deity holding a lotus or lasso and rushing toward you. This is not always required either. This is before the subject and object dissolve into the Dharmadhatu. I am myself, and the deity remains the deity, but at a certain point, the relationship between me and the deity is like that, between a disciple and a guru. Finally, I am on equal terms with this friend. In the end, I merge completely with the deity. So we should understand this principle. As we progress further and further, in essence, I and the deity are already completely one. But right now, at this very moment, we have not yet truly realized this is like gold, precious and rare in the Guhyagarbha Tantra, where the gradual process of refining gold is used as a metaphor for this. We should be aware of this point. Therefore, this is the method, the specific and effective way for attuning and harmonizing with the profound wisdom mind of the Vajra deity. Next is how to pray and request siddhi. That is, how to properly pray and request siddhi in their presence. Dancing within the boundless net of illusion like sesame seeds resting in an open pod. With heartfelt devotion, I pray to the assembly of the three roots, the gentle ones, to bestow their blessings. May all the supreme siddhis, which are the highest spiritual attainments, and the common siddhis, the more ordinary but still meaningful accomplishments that I sincerely wish for, be granted to me fully and without any obstacle or hindrance arising in my path. May these blessings come to me easily, without delay or difficulty, and different translations have different styles. So generally, unless it's absolutely necessary, as long as the meaning is preserved. There can also be different ways one can use their own wisdom. What matters is the wisdom aligns. Some people, when they don't understand themselves or feel it doesn't suit their own disposition, they change things. So the translation is unclear. This isn't very good either. We should either not use their translation at all or change it only when necessary, like real mistakes in the text or when there are fundamental issues that must be corrected. If that's not the case, then every translator has their own style. He has his own personal freedom and his own individual interests. If everyone imposes their own interpretations on these intentions, then it would be better to just retranslate it yourself on your own. There's no need to rely on their version. This time, while reading, there might be some slight differences, but it should be possible to interpret it this way. So here, to sum up, all the deities we've mentioned above, as we have discussed, as I said earlier, this is purely symbolic. In reality, there are countless dancers within the net of illusion. The dancers in the net of illusion refer to this illusion. Everything is a dance of illusion. When we talk about the Pure Land, you will find that there are in fact many different kinds of nets of illusion. In fact, when it comes to deities' illusion net, there can be 10 deities, 100 deities, 1,000 deities, 10,000, 100,000, million, 100 million, 50 billion, trillion, and so on. Countless and truly boundless manifestations can appear like this. For example, when we talk about the Amitabha Sutra, it says above, there are many Buddhas and Buddha lands. And in the lower direction, it's the same, just talking about it makes us dizzy. It's true, all worlds are like this. So the 9 deities are merely the main manifestations. I think this is only natural humans are the same way. The humans we see before us are not just 1 or 2 people, they are all here. When you go to a city, you can use the net of illusion as a metaphor. There are crowds upon crowds, there are numbers, but do they really exist? Everywhere you look, it's a sea of people. If even the people we see directly are like this, then the illusions are more so. So the dancers within the infinite net of illusion, that is, these deities are, like when you open up a sesame pod, inside it's packed with a lot of seeds. In many Buddhist scriptures, there is no gap at all between the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Countless beings are gathered together, filling the space in all 10 directions. Everything is limitless and infinite. This means the analogy of opening a sesame pod. They abide in this way as described by this metaphor. Whether above, below, or in the 10 directions, where are they? When we speak conventionally, we say the West is where the magnetizing deities reside, but that's false. They exist in the West, East, above and below. Even within a single speck of dust, there are numerous magnetizing deities. So it's not the case that actually when I pray, I have to ask Amitabha Buddha for leave first. Like today, maybe someone wants to pray to me. Is it actually okay for me to descend now? If Amitabha Buddha can't be reached now, they ask Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. But Avalokiteshvara is extremely busy and isn't answering the call. There is no such situation. They are boundless and limitless yidams. The vast assembly of the peaceful and wrathful deities, the three roots, can all be included in it. For example, Guru Padmasambhava, the Yidam Hayagriva, the Dakini Vajravarahi, and so on. These are the main three roots which are central in this tradition, and the numerous and numerous magnetizing deities associated with them, they are as innumerable as sesame. So when we pray, it should be done in this way as well, just as we have been taught. The nine yidams are merely symbolic, but when we pray, we can visualize countless, limitless yidams like them. When we talk about the 16 arhats in the Hinayana tradition, each arhat also has many arhat attendants. And moreover, each arhat also has worldly human and non-human followers. So sometimes it can be said that, in fact, people's thinking is actually quite limited and narrow. In front of them, we should show utmost respect and sincerity, praying wholeheartedly and from the depths of our hearts. When you pray, whether you are praying to Guru Padmasambhava or to the nine yidams, the more respect and true devotion you have, the greater the blessings you receive from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As we mentioned before when discussing the prayer to Guru Rinpoche, if you are praying with all the hairs on your body literally standing on end and tears continuously streaming down your face, if you have that kind of experience, many people do feel this way at the beginning. But I've noticed that some of you, although you started out with great faith, by the end, you don't feel anything at all, as if you've turned into a stone. When the merits of the Guru and Three Jewels are discussed, you feel no joy. When the sufferings of samsara are mentioned, you don't feel any sadness either. But as soon as someone mentions an absolutely delicious meal, you almost instantly light up with joy. This is just a joke, nothing more though. As you know, some people will say, you're actually telling the truth. After making a comment, people sometimes feel the need to quickly add, just kidding, as if they're worried their words might be taken the wrong way. This habit can make conversations feel less genuine, but it really shouldn't be like this. It should be that we pray with utmost sincerity, truly hoping for their compassion and blessings. Please give me some blessings. Please give me some blessings, please. Pray with utmost sincerity and respect. When we recite the deity's mantra, everyone still does so with great joy and reverence. And you should keep in mind to pray for the effortless and unobstructed accomplishment of all supreme and common siddhis you desire. In other words, as I practice the magnetizing activities of the nine deities, I should pray for their countless blessings and for any aspirations in my own heart. Some people genuinely aspire to attain the supreme siddhi of complete and ultimate enlightenment. Others wish for the common siddhis, such as wealth, freedom from illness, and longevity, as well as the 8 common siddhis, which are specifically mentioned in the various ritual texts and so on. For example, the wish-fulfilling sword, miraculous powers, and so forth, whatever it may be. Nowadays, many people hardly ever seek the supreme siddhi. Most people setting goals just wish for peace and happiness in this life, or for their toothache to heal quickly. I'm not good looking. I wish to be an attractive person in my next life. But people who think about their next life are few, especially in big cities where there are crowds and crowds of people worshiping the Buddha. Most of them are this. I often visit temples. For example, when I see a young couple there bowing and making aspiration, I eavesdrop to hear the wishes they are making. At times, there are also elderly people bowing in front of Amitabha Buddha. I also watch to see what kind of wishes they are making. I pretend to be quietly worshipping in front of them as well, simply to eavesdrop. At these times, some of them speak their wishes out loud, while others do not. But for those who do speak out loud, I can hear them. They usually say things like, let me be safe and sound, let my family be well, let my grandchildren be this or that. For those of us who have truly and genuinely received Mahayana Buddhist education, we feel all of this is like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow nothing lasts. For example, even if my family has great wealth, after a few decades, it probably won't follow me when I go Even if I have high status, after some time, I will still end up in a truly miserable state. We see that in this world. There are many famous people and many others. If you look back at history, you can see it clearly. None of them are ultimate. What is ultimate is making precious aspirations that last lifetime after life. So whether it is common or uncommon siddhis we wish for, we should attain them freely without any obstacles. What should we pray for? We should pray for our accomplishment. This is very important for us right now. So here, he is not asking us to focus on just one thing that we must accomplish. Every person has their own wishes and aspirations, but if you want these wishes to come true, they will be fulfilled. So this prayer text truly is, if you want to find peace, reciting it once for yourself will bring you peace. If you hope that your travel experience will go smoothly and nothing at all will happen along the way, perhaps, apart from some karmic obstacles from our past lives, which are hard to change. In daily life, practitioners should note this. Some people say, well, what about you? If the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have the power, why don't they save us? If they don't save us, they can't. When I was at H-Cust, or similar, someone there who was very sharp, who thought he was asking a profound question. He said, if your Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can bestow blessings, then can they save people? If they save, fine. If they can't save, then there's no need to pray to them. Later, I gave him an example. I said, for instance, the medicine in a hospital, some medicines can cure certain illnesses while others cannot. But just if you decide no medicine should be used, that would also be unreasonable in the world. So when we pray to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for blessings, we truly can't claim it's 100% certain that just because you pray for blessings, nothing will ever happen to you on the road. Or to say that everything is guaranteed. There's no such thing in the world. Because there are many different complex causes and conditions involved. The causes and conditions behind anything are never singular. If they were singular solving, one issue would suffice. In that case, as long as a doctor can cure illnesses, he would be able to cure all illnesses of all beings. But this has never existed ever. So even though this is the truth, even though it's reality, but there are some things that really can be solved and some things that cannot be solved. However, we should still do our best and make efforts to solve the things that can be solved. This is very important. Therefore, we should pray for blessings to be bestowed upon us. What kind of blessings exactly? Blessings so that everything we wish for, both common and uncommon attainments, can be achieved without obstacles, especially for people present here. Perhaps according to the teachings given to everyone by the precious Guru. In life after life, have discipline, concentration, and wisdom. Personally practice the three training. From the perspective of benefiting others, in every lifetime one should use bodhicitta to benefit all sentient beings. This is the aspiration of many people. So when we pray to the nine principal deities, it is generally best to have a certain mindset. For example, when we meet someone who is truly, absolutely remarkable and they have the ability, we should ask for something that will truly benefit us in the long run, something that helps us over time. Otherwise, it's somewhat unworthy. For example, if every single day when we pray to the nine principal deities, I want to recite the prayer for magnetizing activity. I eat well every single day and I sleep well every single day too. Making aspirations like this might be necessary for beginners at the very start, but really it's best if we aspirations like Samantabhadra's aspiration to noble deeds, wishing our study, contemplation, and practice to be complete, our afflictions destroyed. Even if occasionally due to past karma we experience some afflictions and suffering, these too can gradually transform into wisdom and become causes for benefiting sentient beings. If we practice this way, then truly, whether you genuinely wish to gain people, to win their favor, or to acquire wealth and prosperity, this prayer is indeed a very powerful and blessed prayer, cherished by many for the strength and the Vajra words of Mithun Rinpoche. So finally, the concluding meaning is as follows. This is the first day of the 7th month of the Earth Rabbit Year in the Tibetan calendar, Gregorian calendar year. Mithun Rinpoche, composed at 34. Day refers to Mithun Rinpoche.
He is an emanation of Manjushri Bodhisattva. Anyone who prays to him can have their wishes fulfilled and accomplish all activities of magnetizing. Anyone here means any person, whoever. This is not the case. This is something that only masters can cultivate, or that only monastics can accomplish it, or only those who observe precepts can accomplish it. He did not say that. Anyone, as long as you sincerely pray, then whatever magnetizing activity you wish for, that you desire or hope for, can be successfully accomplished or achieved. As we mentioned earlier, so-called magnetizing activity refers to something you cannot obtain yourself. To put it in modern terms, many of us want things for ourselves, to possess them, but we don't have them. In fact, worldly people really ought to practice this magnetizing activity. They have too many needs. They simply want everything, this and that. It's as if they need everyone and all in the world, but they can't obtain any of it. Even if they get something temporarily, in the end they lose. It's sad, painful, and it goes on like this. So I think no matter who you are, as long as you pray, this is important. His Holiness also used to say this. In our institute, everyone recites the prayer for magnetizing activity. Often, magnetizing will happen. As for some other deeper Vajrayana practices, perhaps only those with good faculties can truly succeed in them. Those with weaker faculties might fail. But with this practice, as long as you have faith in the 9 deities, no matter who you are, as long as you pray, your wishes will be fulfilled. Say your magnetizing will work. There is no need for any doubt. It is certainly beyond question. Also, this is written on bright red cloth and hung up at our institute when our guru was still alive. Sometimes, on almost each and every building in the institute, prayer flag, prayer for spontaneous accomplishment, hung. For a period of time, this was the case, and even now in Tibet, many of them are red cloths printed with the prayer for spontaneous accomplishment. There are many like this. Do the same. On one hand, recite it yourself, and on the other, buy some prayer flags. If prayer flags which are printed with the sacred prayer for spontaneous accomplishment can be hung in every corner of the world, spreading their blessings and positive intentions to all beings everywhere, it will definitely bring great and significant benefit to the people there. I have seen that now in many big cities, for example in some villas and inside and outside some houses, they're completely surrounded by red prayer flags with the magnetizing activities prayer, which can't be seen from the outside. However, in our institute, it's generally best to place them on rooftops or on the mountains. Don't simply wrap the entire courtyard completely with red cloth, please. Otherwise, people passing by or in those areas, such as pedestrians, might end up stepping on them, which would be a serious transgression. We should treat prayer flags exactly the same as we would the Yidam deity itself, with the utmost respect. Some people at first don't understand and treat prayer flags or even books casually. They step on them at will, which is a very serious transgression. Therefore, whether it is for the thoughtful propagation of the Dharma or to help many people truly attain inner peace and physical and mental well-being, nowadays many people are mentally and physically unsettled. They are constantly in a persistent state of panic, ongoing worry, and deep, overwhelming sadness. If we can spread this Dharma practice to various places, it can be said that people's inner happiness will naturally arise. This includes myself too. When we practiced here the other day, we also made something one side. I don't have it today, maybe it will be available later. On one side, we used a Buddhist flag, and on the other side, we used the magnetizing activity supplication prayer, because Mifam Rinpoche said that if it is made on red cloth, it brings great merit. On one side is the dependent origination, a symbol of the Dharma. On the other side, through this kind of practice, I don't have it now, but there will be some in the future. How many times can I actually read it to you? Just wondering. We've distributed some last year, didn't we ask everyone? If you recite it a certain number of times, I will give a reward. Later, I wanted to divide them into large and small, but that wasn't easy either. So we made some of these devices, for example, including ones to put in cars. Nowadays, there are all kinds of flags in cars, so these can also be used. However, as a Buddhist, especially as a practitioner such as yourself, engage in the activity of spreading the Dharma in your daily life. We hope people living in cities can also do a bit more in this regard inside is this supplication text. If the quality of the fabric is a bit better, it won't be noticeable from the outside. One side Buddhist flag, other side magnetizing activity supplication prayer. It may create connection. The gentle supplication text and the colorful Buddhist flag should be moved by the wind. We actually have a kind of auspicious connection, and this is also very important. In worldly life as well, all aspects of our lives operate within a web of interdependent connection. This point is also very important. I hope that in the future, when we do things, we must do them in accordance with the Dharma. If not per the Dharma, it's not reasonable. Like making these prayer flags. If the prayer flags have been consecrated, that's best. If you personally cannot find someone to consecrate them, you can use rice that has been blessed by some lamas and sprinkle it on the flags. If you really can't find any lamas, recite the dependent origination mantra, Om Ahang, 7 times with a pure mind. This is acceptable, then you can hang the flags on rooftops or mountains. In this way, gradually and steadily, I believe that whether it's the Dharma or the truth, spreading them in this world truly requires all kinds of auspicious and meaningful connections. Writing the mantras carefully on red silk and then hanging them up high, or alternatively making them into fire wheels or wind wheels, can also in turn bring about accomplishment. A wind wheel on the mountain spins by using the wind. These wind wheels spin on their own, and there are a few of them in the Institute as well. There are also some steamers that rely on the side. For example, I didn't understand what a true fire wheel was. In fact, it is actually a prayer wheel that spins on its own, powered by the strong burning of fire nearby. There are some that spin using fire. Among the handheld prayer wheels, some also contain the magnetizing activity supplication prayer. Recently, Dharma friends have been using this kind of prayer wheel. Inside these magnetizing activity supplication prayer, some Avalokiteshvara mantras, it can be used to make prayer wheels as explained Mitham Rinpoche, if it is not stated here that we should make this or that a prayer wheel. His Holiness also criticized this before. For example, as soon as you see a deity, you put all the images of the deity into the prayer wheel. This mantra, that mantra unreasonable. It is best to use mantras like Avalokiteshvara's mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Prayer wheel merit is great. When His Holiness was nearing parinirvana and held, his final request was that in his words, he hoped many devotees would regularly use prayer wheels. Use the prayer wheel if no one is there to pray for your rebirth after death. If a prayer wheel is near, you will not fall into lower realm. His Holiness gave many teachings. So in the future, if we find it hard to recite supplications ourselves, if other reasons exist or if not ideal, I'll do this. If necessary conditions are present, I see that in big cities, some wealthy people perform a lot of meritorious deeds. But to be honest, some of these merits are in fact not really being put to good use, or they are not used in ways that benefit their present and future lives, life after life. Affinity to spread Dharma and benefit beings. Therefore, in the future, through this magnetizing activity supplication prayer and our collective study together, from now on, no matter where everyone goes, in study groups or with Dharma friends, learn the mantra, Om Ahong Sha De Chenbawa. So many people will learn it and all must be able to recite it. At the same time, everyone should create more of these vibrant red prayer flag scriptures and hang them on the majestic mountains. In this way, naturally, your body and mind will become more capable, and obstacles will be dispelled, happiness will be attained, and so on. This is very necessary. At the same time, the flourishing of Buddhism overall is not something we approach with a biased or extreme mindset, thinking Buddhism should destroy others. We do not have such an attitude. Every follower has faith in their religion. But our main intention is that, in fact, Buddhism brings people wisdom and compassion, which for everyone can be considered a spiritual treasure. Such a treasure is something we should Each and every one of us has the responsibility to protect and preserve because it belongs to the world and can be said to be a very precious heritage of humanity. Therefore, to ensure its inheritance by future generations and to secure its continued existence for many years to come, it is important that we take steps to preserve and protect it. As human beings, as individuals, and as members of society, we all have this responsibility. In this way, I particularly and especially hope that in my own life, through such supplication prayers and the practice of the 9 deities, I can gain benefit myself now and always, because our Guru, precious master, as I mentioned the other day, to be completely honest, many of his aspirations, when he was approaching parinirvana, at that significant moment, he said to his lineage disciples with a gentle voice to our generation, next and future generations, if these people practice this Dharma method, then the Guru's intention, or you could say his blessings, will continue to be passed down. This is very important. When we taught the way of the Bodhisattva originally, there was a sage's mental blessing. And even after several hundred years, his teachings were still effective. It's like that story. Therefore, for us, some people may have never met the precious Guru in person, and some may never have even heard of him. But regardless, to be honest, I myself truly have a very deep karmic connection with this main lineage. I hope that for the benefit of both yourself and others, you should practice the activity of magnetizing. By practicing magnetizing, spreading Dharma, or benefiting beings later, or for reducing your own afflictions, this is also a form of gentle influence, and it's very important. Right now, many people are suffering greatly. No matter what kind of suffering, they are suffering. If you can practice magnetizing with ease, you will experience physical and mental freedom, relaxation, and ease. No matter what kind of environment you are in, or what difficulties or pressures you face, you should be able to maintain a smile. This is also a kind of happiness in this life. Not to mention the happiness that extends life after life. Today. Next, may auspiciousness increase. What will be said next? All aspirations come true. Auspiciousness grow.
Bandara